Happy Sunday. It is Alpha Traders here. It is DP with Alpha Traders, I should say. We are here weekly. ESF futures outlook for the week. Monster week last week. Phenomenal. 90% again on plays. It was a great week to say the least. And don't forget to like and retweet if you're on Twitter. Like and sub on YouTube. We appreciate all the love. This is all free for you. Literally giving out free thousands and thousands and thousands of ideas. And hopefully you're making thousands and thousands of dollars and tens of thousands on top of it from this. Obviously, it's not financial advice. I am not your financial advisor. So let's jump into it. So huge igniting bar on Friday, as we can see here. Once it got past this point here, the 3805, which was my pivot for the 2 days prior, you guys check it out at alphatraders.com. If you want to become a member, you guys will see my daily pivot. Probably the most valuable thing that you can have in your trading day is that pivot to go long or short on. Those pivots they're right probably 96% of the time, the pivot on it. I think only once in the last 3 weeks have I had a day where that pivot meant nothing. So looking at this forward, we did fill the gap here. That was pretty key, right? There's also some supply over here as well. We did finish above it. So now for the week anyways, my macro pivot, I'm going to be using 38.98, or you can use 3800, or you can use 38.96. That whole 38.96 to 3900, you can use that whole little area as your macro pivot. Obviously, to the point is not, or to the dollar is not the idea here. The idea is to catch this range and then enter in that range, whether you're going to be short or long. So we closed above it, which is a bullish close. But as we know, we are definitely in a short-term bear market. And we are more of a bearish bias coming out of this to retest this area down here, this 3,800, before we move on to anywhere else, right? So that being said, macro pivot, we'll use 3,900, just keep it nice and round. If we open above 3,900 and hold above 3,900, you have a good risk reward, in my opinion, to go long. And that daily tip of 39.43 and 39.55, so we'll call it the 39.50 area, is a good bounce to get. I would think if they want to be bullish on this, we will get to 39.85-ish, 34,000, somewhere in there. And then probably get a reject as we have supply here. We have supply here. This is obviously the big down part right here from early part of June. So as you can see, I think I'm eyeing this area here. This is a pretty strong area to reject from. As you can see, all this supply that is sitting over on top. Historically, if we look back, let's see what it is. I haven't looked at this historically. Let's look at it together, shall we? This 39.85, you have historic supply at 40.30. So now you have historic supply as well, 40.30 to 40.50. You also have some at 4,100. So there's some ideas above that algos like to target. We all know algos love gaps. We know they're the biggest, it's an easy target for an algorithm because it's a mathematical point of conflict, and it is a good point for the algorithm to go back to connect the dots of connecting all the bars. So, 3,900, big level. 3,900, big level. I'll say it again to everybody. Below 3,900, especially if we get under 38.80, that's where the bottom of this gap was. It is 38.78. We'll call it, I have 38.82 on the order flow part of it. You can use that little 4-point area. Get below here, very good short opportunity, I would think, back to 38.05, where they would then retest that, and I do think that breaks. It'll probably chop. Maybe a day or two it'll chop, and then we will go back down and visit 3,600, which then will create a lower low, and I would not be surprised if we go visit 36.21 and 35.92, and ultimately, right, this little guy, 35.88, this whole little area right here. COVID low, or the pre-COVID highs are here, just so as a point of reference, right around 3,400. I do think we're going to go touch this and we will fill this gap. There is a macro gap on the weekly. Is it weekly or monthly? Let's figure it out. There was a gap there somewhere. I guess they filled the gap, but this is a point of contention. This is a good point from a macro standpoint. I didn't realize they filled the gap back in September of 20. So they filled that gap. They came back up. They filled that gap. This is when everybody was saying, life's ending, market's going to crash, blah, 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 and it ran up. So watch this area here, 3,400. I would think this is a generational buy. As you know, we are the home of generational buy, and I think this would be a generational buy if it does come across. I would think anything from 3,482 to 3,400 would be a great spot. And then what happens if you lose 3,400 and it holds under for 2 to 3 days? You cut it. You cut your short, and you say, you know what? It was a good RR at 3,400. I lost some money. I tried from 3,500 all the way down. Just kept adding, seeing if we could just get that catch that bottom. We're buying dated calls at this point, and boom, you can call call spreads on that for a little less risk, and you're covered. So it's all about risk reward. It's about playing areas that are risk reward coming out of this. Now, one last thing on the weekly here. I just saw we bounced off the 200 EMA, which is a good thing. You still have all these EMAs. Again, I'm not an EMA trader. I just like seeing it for points of interest. All of these are curling down still. All the short term are still curling down. The macro is starting to curl down too. The 100-day, it's been flattening and now it's starting to come back down. So that's what's telling me I think we have more downside to get to. I think they will break this 200-day EMA on the weekly. Right now it's sitting at 36.35. I do think they break that. I think we get down to 3,400 at some point. I had said this years ago that we're going to come back to this point to retest it. So 39, let's go review one more time. I try to keep it short and sweet. 3,900 for everybody. 3,900 is my pivot. Macro pivot. If we lose 3,900, I would expect a downturn again. Go test that 200-day. If you want to use the 200-day as your area of interest, cool. I'm using 38.05. I think 38.05 is a good area. If we are holding above 3,900, I would suspect we go test what's out there at 39.85. Good luck. AlphaTraders.com. Come join us. It is fun. We have a lot of fun. Tons of info all day. It's not like we just sit there and do nothing and it's quiet. We are talking, looking, seeing, helping, trying to make each other better, and hope to have you down there soon. DP signing off. We'll see you out there this week.